My name's Amy. I'm a 24-year-old graphic designer. I'm currently single, focusing on my work and living alone in my grandparents' house in the neighboring town where I grew up. I've had no issues with my work relationships, but my real family has always been a source of trouble for me. I have an older sister, Melissa, who's 2 years older and was always favored by her parents. As a child, I loved to draw, but Melissa would often mock me, saying things like, "Mom, Amy's doodling again. It's embarrassing that she's my sister." She'd snatch my drawings and throw them away. My parents always sided with Melissa, nodding along to everything she said. They told me I needed to work and bring in money after finishing school, but my maternal grandparents disagreed and took me in. Thanks to them, I attended high school in a nearby town. I wanted to repay them after graduating, but they encouraged me to pursue vocational school instead. I've always loved creating original characters, so I went to graphic design school. Even as a student, I entered logo and design competitions. Some companies liked my designs, but one offered to use my original character as their mascot, which kickstarted my career as a freelance designer working from my grandparents' home. My grandparents have been traveling across national parks in America for about a year, so I'm currently managing their house alone. However, Melissa keeps criticizing me, asking when I'll start contributing to the household and belittling my work as a freelancer. She's dismissive despite my efforts to explain. I don't want them to think that my sister is like you. It's embarrassing, so don't come. I'll make sure you can't. Even if you do, I'll lend you my man. So why don't you go and experience what a date is like? It seemed that my sister did not want me to attend. Furthermore, I was a little puzzled by my sister's last words. After thinking a bit, I told her, understood. I won't have anything more to do with all of you. I don't think of you as family. I'll cut off my ties, but remember, I won't be responsible for whatever happens, and hung up. As I was about to hang up, I had a feeling that my sister was sneering at my words, but I ended the call without worrying about it. The next day, since there was no more wedding I had to attend, I was enjoying my long-awaited day off. As I was barbecuing in my backyard, the intercom at my house suddenly rang. There stood my sister and parents. Hello, wasn't today supposed to be Melissa's wedding? I was waiting for my fiancé at the wedding venue, but no one showed up. Even when I asked the staff, they said that it had been canceled and there was no wedding scheduled, she yelled. To my sister's outcry, I calmly responded, what does that have to do with me? Besides, I told you that I don't care what happens. I cut ties with you all yesterday. Please leave me alone. Everything started when my sister called me yesterday and told me not to attend the wedding. After hanging up the phone with my sister, our parents paid for Melissa's college and helped her get a job through connections. During college, she received a generous allowance and occasionally worked at nightclubs for extra money. In contrast, I've been working part-time since school days, gradually supporting my grandparents financially, although they insist they don't need it. Melissa looks down on me and doesn't understand my situation. Despite not being close to my family, they often criticize me without considering my circumstances. When I tried to stand up for myself, they made more hurtful remarks, so I usually keep quiet. Recently, Melissa invited me to her wedding, handed me the invitation, and bragged about her fiancé, the heir to a major company. She made condescending remarks about my life and even offered to find me a boyfriend, which I politely declined. Although my grandparents won't attend due to a cruise trip, I decided to go to the wedding after reconsidering. I confirmed my schedule and prepared to attend. But then Melissa called unexpectedly, telling me not to come to the wedding because, as she put it, it wouldn't matter if I was absent. My parents laughed along with Melissa, suggesting I fake being sick to skip the wedding. I was hurt and unsure how to respond. This version maintains the essence of the original while improving punctuation and simplifying the language for clarity. I contacted someone. It was the father of my sister's fiancé. The reason I was able to get in touch with him was that he was the president of the company I work for. Steve, I'm sorry to bother you when you're busy. I won't be able to attend the wedding of your son tomorrow. I had called Steve immediately after hanging up the phone with my sister. In fact, when I received an invitation from my sister announcing her marriage, I only thought that the name of her fiancé, Robert, seemed familiar. It was only later when I received the same invitation from Steve, so I was taken aback to learn that the man who was marrying my sister was Robert. But when I told Steve that the bride was my sister, he joyfully said, when Robert talks about Melissa, he always looks so happy. When I met Melissa, she was a wonderful lady. She's definitely your sister, Amy. We look forward to working with you both personally and professionally. Given this, I assumed my sister had cleaned up her past relationships with men. However, the fact that I was unable to attend because my sister told me not to come to the wedding was something I felt I had to tell Steve, who I had promised to meet at the wedding. When I did, Steve asked me, "What happened? The ceremony is tomorrow, isn't it? Did you overwork yourself and get sick?" He seemed very worried about me. It was a bit hard for me to say, but I decided to relay exactly what my sister had told me. She told me a bottom-rung loser like you should not attend the wedding tomorrow. She called you a bottom-rung loser even though you're such a successful designer. Does your sister not know? He seemed outraged that I was being called a loser. The only people who understand me are my grandparents, who are currently overseas. And about what my sister said, I told a story about my family that I had never told anyone before. Apparently, Steve immediately told Robert about the conversation, and Robert was very angry too. Steve's family values their kinship, thinking of their employees as family. Although I'm not an employee, they seem to value me as well because I work with them, considering me as part of the family. We don't consider people who can't cherish the family we value as our family. "We're sorry, but we can't accept your family into ours," he said to me. Robert, who was nearby, said, "I'm sorry, Amy, but I'm thinking about calling off the wedding with Melissa." To his words, I said, "Robert, I have cut ties with my family, so you can do whatever you want. Also, there's something else I need to tell you," and decided to share a certain fact. "What is it?" Robert, not knowing what he was about to be told, responded in a worried voice. Feeling apologetic, I told him what my sister had said to me after she told me to skip the wedding. My sister said she was going to lend her boyfriend to me, so I hesitate to say this, but I think my sister has had bad habits with men since the old days. I suspect that she might have another man aside from you, Robert. "What?" She told me she was single when we started dating, and she came on to me. He seemed a bit shocked. Steve then came on the speaker. "Amy, you said you're free tomorrow, right?" "Yes, I plan to be at home all day." "I see. Our family will not attend the wedding. We have a proposal for you." Thinking it sounded fun, I agreed. The plan was to have a barbecue at my house on the day of the wedding. So when my sister and my parents came to my house, we were in the middle of the barbecue, including Steve and Robert. As I was dealing with them at the front door, Robert, noticing the three of them had arrived, peeked at the door. "Why is Robert here? Today is supposed to be the wedding." We went to the venue and were told the wedding was canceled. None of the attendees from your side showed up, and we couldn't contact anyone, so we were worried. "Why are you here? Don't tell me you two have been disgusting." My sister, upon seeing Robert, came at us all at once. There, Robert sighed heavily and told my sister quietly, "You're someone who can't cherish family. We heard about your attitude and words towards Amy. You told me your sister was busy with work and couldn't see you often, but that's not the case at all." "Well, I'm ashamed that this unemployed loser is my sister. It's better for her public image to say that she's busy with work, isn't it? That's why I've been saying she's busy with work. What's wrong with that? I've been speaking well of her in public. I would appreciate some gratitude for that." My sister insisted it was for my sake. Seeing my sister like this, Robert defended me, emphasizing how much I contributed to his company. "You know, it's proof of not valuing family when you, her own sister, have no idea what kind of work Amy does. You've been calling her unemployed, but her income should be at least double yours. And your parents treated Amy the same way, right? I can't be with someone who can't value their own family. We should consider our engagement off." "What? Off? Does that mean I can't get married?" Even though Melissa seemed furious, she turned towards me with a mocking grin. "Wait, Amy's job is that amazing? I wouldn't have known unless someone told me. From now on, I promise to listen to you, Amy. Let's get along better." After Robert pointed it out, Melissa's attitude towards me changed dramatically. Whether it was due to an interest in my salary or not, my family was trying to suck up to me, but I rejected them clearly. No way. After all the humiliation and looking down upon me, it's too convenient to now say let's get along. Stop joking. No matter how much you try to flatter me, I won't help you financially. I told you yesterday I've cut ties with you as a family. Don't get involved with me anymore. If you continue to stay here, I'll call the police. If you don't want that, leave right now." The moment I mentioned police, the three of them changed color and quickly dispersed. After that, Robert and I returned to the backyard and continued enjoying our barbecue. A month later, I received a call from an unknown number. Assuming it was work-related, I decided to answer. "Hey, I got a bill from Robert. What did you say? You knew about my affair?" Before I could say hello, Melissa's shrill voice echoed in my ear. "What are you talking about all of a sudden? I've repeatedly told you not to involve me, but you still do. I don't care about your affair anymore, so please never contact me again." With that, I hung up. Later, I heard from Robert that the investigation of Melissa's affair during their engagement had finished and it seemed possible to claim compensation and cancellation fees from the venue. As Melissa had quit her job with the plan of getting married, I heard she was juggling several part-time jobs to somehow pay the compensation. She seemed to have run crying to her parents, but their income had never been great, so I don't think that they could be of much help. As someone who was spoiled until now, I hope Melissa takes responsibility for what she's done. Currently, I'm still working with Steve's company. We've been discussing the opportunity for me to create various products as an exclusive designer. I look forward to continuing to work happily with these kind of people in the future.